Hmm. Hey, it's me again, coming to you in a much more daylighty time of the day. That is to say, I'm not doing this right before I go to bed like I usually do. So, I guess you could call it, well, usually I call it, what do I call it, bedtime thoughts. We'll just call it not quite bedtime thoughts this time. Because, anyway, I got my days off right now, and I am completely off of any kind of sleep schedule. So here I am, just taking some time in the middle of a day off to just babble on a little bit. See what comes of it, I guess. So yeah, I have foregone the usual attire in favor of something that's more akin to what I usually wear during my daytime out and about. So this is more or less my public face. So, and I don't know if that works to my advantage or disadvantage at this point in my life, but it is what it is, and it is where the year and a half of hormone replacement therapy has brought me. So, sure would like to have some more noticeable changes, but when you start at almost 40 years old, it kind of limits its impact. But I'll take what I can get. But anyway, my purpose here is not to piss and moan about the effects or the lack thereof of HRT, but just kind of go over what's been going on in my life and some thoughts that have been on my mind in the last few days. So I guess first and foremost, anyone that has kept up with me recently knows that I had a little incident with a bear in my car, meeting at a very high rate of speed on Saturday. Miraculously, the car did not get totaled. I mean, I have no idea how I could be that lucky, but yeah, I took it into the mechanic today. They looked it over and they basically just confirmed what I already suspected. And yeah, all I need is an exhaust pipe replaced and a wheel alignment. I mean, I'm looking at about $300 to $400 worth of work, and that's it. So I'll take that as an absolute win. And go, yay me. Yeah, so I mean, I still don't know how I got so lucky. I mean, it was a 65-mile-an-hour impact. So I guess that just speaks to the to the build quality of the Mercuries of the era. So yeah, I mean, I've had a car for, what's it been now? I bought it used back in 2018? Here it is 5 years later almost. And yeah, I got plans to keep that car around for a long time, provided that the body holds up. The underside has begun to rust quite a bit in spots, but apart from that, it's held up remarkably well considering the vintage of it. I mean, it's 2006 model year. So it's been around the block a few times. Been around the country a time or two from the previous owner. But anyway, yeah, so that's just where I'm at as far as that goes. Yeah, the other things in my life going on right now, I had my electrolysis yesterday, and that was just a usual thing. But I don't do I don't really like to show my face in public after I get those sessions done, just because of how beat up my face winds up after that. I mean, the level of redness is more akin to an acne-ridden teenager, which I really don't want to be showing off that kind of face publicly too much. So I tend to just get those sessions done, pop in, see my mother for a couple hours, and then I come back home. So, yeah, I know there's really no point to that, me bringing that up, but that's kind of my Wednesday routine is head out there, get my face zapped for a couple hours, and looking like absolute shit, and then I come home. And then at some point, at some point during the afternoon, I will inevitably pass out because I haven't slept in 24 hours plus at that point. And yeah, I'll just fall asleep whenever, wake up whenever, and wind up with a couple of days where everything's a blur. Altering that on occasion when I have an appointment the next day, such as today when I had a mechanic appointment first thing in the morning. Otherwise, yeah, I might be sleeping right now. Who knows? So. But yeah, don't know if I want to say much about that or not, but I don't remember if I answered this previously, but for those who are curious, I won't go into too much detail to spoil, much more than I have to, but for those who are curious, I do work 12-hour shifts in manufacturing within a plastics plant that works on parts for cars. You make like little parts that basically we make the hardware that holds your cars together. So chances are pretty good that if you have a car from the last couple decades, there's a good chance that some of our parts are in your cars, trucks, SUVs, whatever. So there's just a little trivia for you. Yeah, so here's the downside to not having any kind of a script is I'm just going off the cuff here, so there's gonna be a lot of dead silence. I apologize for that, but I don't have the patience or the software or hardware to go in and do like a multi-take video and edit it down and enhance it and whatnot. I mean, I don't even have the anything proper for thumbnails, so, because I'm working with a phone that was already on the lower end of the spectrum, for phones, 3 years ago when I bought it, and it's still vastly underpowered. Imagine that. Other than that, I've got a laptop that was obsolete when I bought it what was that, 2016? So yeah, 7 years ago. So yeah, I'm running with so much outdated hardware. It's not to say that I can't afford it to replace it, but it's something where I've I've done a lot in the past where I would start something, go all in, buy a bunch of shit for it, and then within a week or two, you know, I just cast it aside, never use it again. I mean, I've been notoriously bad with that for exercise equipment, with my guitars, and yeah, I mean, even my gaming hardware, my consoles. Yeah, I've got so many unplayed games on my PS4 and my Switch that sometimes I wonder why I bothered to buy half of that. So, and those are just like, $50, $100 things at a time. But then you want to talk about like $1,000 computer, $400 or $500 phone. I mean, you can see why I'd be a little hesitant to upgrade my software, my hardware. I mean, I wasn't even talking about the software side of it, but yeah, if you start looking at software, most of the good software you gotta pay for it. So there's another expenditure you gotta consider. So anyway, that's just my making excuses for why I'm doing this potato setup. So maybe I'll change at some point in the future if I find that there's some kind of an audience for me. But in the meantime, right now I'm just doing these uploads for myself as a means to, get vocal. Yeah, when I'm tired, I can't talk. Get some vocal practice in, because when I'm out and about, my voice is nowhere near as consistent as it is right now. I tend to go a lot more masculine with my voice when I'm out and about talking to random strangers. And no, let's be honest here. I don't consider myself to be feminine enough looking as it is to pass just on looks alone. I mean, I've heard it said often that your self-perception, especially if you have gender dysphoria, your self-perception is going to be so skewed that you won't see it if you actually look like you pass as your preferred gender. But in my case, I look back at my picture, I look in the mirror, and I have a real hard time seeing it. So if you're seeing it, just from a cursory look at me, or in some limited interaction, then that's great. I mean, that would make that would thrill me, but unfortunately, it's only a matter of time before I slip vocally and wind up, with my voice dropping down to a more masculine tone, like you're hearing right now. So I try not to go down that far, but I'll slip subconsciously, or even if I'm trying to keep it up, I just can't. I can't hold it. So I went and attended a vocal group, a gender affirming vocal. Excuse me here, I can't seem to speak the words. A gender affirming vocal group run through the local university a few months back, and the progress that I made throughout that group was measurable, and things were looking very promising as we went into the final week of program. And unfortunately, this was the beginning of December, which was the point where I got sick. And it was one of those bugs that I couldn't shake it, I couldn't get rid of it. And so much of it targeted my throat that I wound up losing most of the progress I had made through that group. So my voice kind of just reset back to where it was previously. And to this day, I'm still trying to repair that damage, recoup that loss that I had back then. So, unfortunately, it's really sporadic progress, and it doesn't hold. So, that's really my biggest hope for doing this. Is just so that my vocal cords and my larynx and everything in here gets more accustomed to speaking in the higher pitches, higher octaves, and I can at least more frequently evade detection as from the general public as being a trans person, particularly with the way things are going around the country right now. So I'm liable to start off on a really long tangent here if I go into that topic. So I think I'm going to do here that I'm going to split this up. I'm going to stop this one here, and I'll pick up a second chapter, if you will, talking about other things, just a few minutes on another video, just so I don't overload you with one hour-long blog type thing. So I'll pause this here, and if this is all you watch for the time being, then I will wish you a good day. Later.